Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. With Halloween fast approaching and a Kickstarter currently running for a reprint of Fireteam Zero, one of my favourite games, I thought it would be a good opportunity to take a quick look at the Monster Pack expansions for Fireteam Zero. These were available during the first Kickstarter campaign and they are available now during the reprint campaign. And they're basically, there's 4 packs. They have very inventive titles. This is Monster Pack A. I will leave it up to your imagination to figure out what the other packs might be called. Yeah, they're just monsters, extra monsters to add into the games with cards for using those monsters. So I've just realised I've got a smudge of black ink on my finger there, and that's going to bug me throughout the rest of this video. Hey, never mind. Never mind, just ignore it. It's not there. Right, where was I? Yeah, Monster Pack A. This is probably the most interesting of the monster packs because you get 5 elite monsters, 1 for each of the major families. There is a daughter of Typhoon, who is from the Children of Typhoon family, a Whispering Fetch, not surprisingly from the Fetch family. There's a Flensing Tree, which is from the Thornspawn family, which is the family available in the Africa cycle expansion. There is an Infesting Queen, which is part of the Infested family, and then there is a Grim Imposter, which is from the Bloodless family, which is the family you get in the Europe cycle expansion. So yeah, these 3 monsters from the base set, these 2 monsters from the, these 3 from the base set, and this one from the expansions. But you don't need the expansions to use them. You can use all of these monsters straight away. Yeah, so we're going to have a quick look at the miniatures. We're going to have a quick look at the cards. Worth noting that these came with the French and the English versions of the cards. I am assuming that I've just noticed it's a really odd thing on the graphic design here where they've not rounded the edges of the card there, but they have on all the others. Oh, I'm being easily distracted this evening. French and English versions of the cards. I'm assuming that will be the same because this is the actual retail packaging, so I can't imagine there's going to be anything different there. But yeah, this was in English and French, so there was 2 sets of cards, which was handy if you don't speak English, I guess. Right, so let's start with this fella. This fella is the Whispering Fetch, and he's a great character, great monster, really unpleasant. And this is one of the things I like about a lot of the monsters in Fireteam Zero is just looking at the artwork or looking at the miniature, they really do tell a story. If you look at this guy, you can see that he's got a human face on the palms of his hands here. And then behind, there's a second set of slightly less human arms, which actually sort of coming around here and there. They're sort of poised, and then there is a huge mouth. And it's called the Whispering Fetch. So you can imagine in the dark, you can just see what you think is a human face. Hey, come over here. And then those hands part. These hands come forward, and yeah, it's munchy time in the big piranha mouth. So yeah, it's a really interesting design for a model. It reminds me a little bit of Kingdom Death. Some of the monsters from Kingdom Death, obviously the use of like a human decoy to attract an unsuspecting victim. If we have a little look at the card that goes with it, great piece of artwork, very much matching the miniature. And okay, this is all of the monsters. I should have mentioned this. All of the monsters are elites. In Fireteam Zero, families of monsters are made up of minions, elites, and then a boss. You normally get 8 minions, 4 elites, and then a boss. These are like elites. They're a little bit tougher than the average elite from that particular family, like an elite plus, if you will. So yeah, you only get one of them in the box, but you wouldn't want 4 of them on the board. So in a mission that says have 1 elite per player, you wouldn't want 4 of these guys floating around. They're nasty. But you can just switch out one of the elites for one of these guys, or use them in custom missions, or you can use them with the mission generator cards, which have options for introducing all of these monsters. I think one of the most common ways to use them would be to any mission that calls for elites, a certain number of elites, just replace one of them with one of the extra special guys, or use them in that sort of situation. But yeah, they are a little bit tougher than the average elite. This particular guy, these are his hit points. I don't know if you know, I'm assuming that if you're looking at these expansion videos, then you're going to know how this works, but this is the hit points, and these are resistances to certain types of attacks. So this guy's pretty resistant across the board, and you need to cause 7 wounds to take him off the board. He has a movement of 1, 3 brawl dice to attack at range 0. 2 interesting things. First of all, his cup ability. This is every time a monster activates in Fireteam Zero, you roll a special dice, and if you roll this symbol, the monster will do something horrible. In this case, it will move all adjacent heroes to its location after it moves, but before it attacks. So it's kind of playing on that theme that we were talking about. It's pretending to be human. Hey, come over here. All the heroes go forward, or they sort of rush to help someone because they think someone's in trouble, and then piranha mouth time. And they also have this compel ability, which is an always on ability, that says a whispering fetch may not be attacked at range 0. So this guy's getting you on his activation, and then he's messing with you on your next turn, because he's going to compel you all into his zone, and then once you're there, he's going to trick you into not attacking him. So really, really difficult to deal with. You're going to be sniping him at range, and take him out before he can lure you in. So yeah, he's a cool monster. He's a good monster. Okay. Next up, we have the Grim Imposter. We will look at the miniature first. Again, it's a miniature that's telling a story. And what I like about it is it's not the beginning of the story, and it's not the end of the story. It's the meat and potatoes. It's just at the point where it's getting good. You see, obviously it was pretending to be human. This seems to be a trait with a lot of the characters and monsters in Fireteam Zero. And as a hero is approached, he has ripped himself open, and the unpleasantness is coming out. Yeah, it's not the best miniature in the world in terms of the detail. The detail's quite soft, but it almost kind of works in that regard. On the face is a little bit soft because it's not really a human face as such. It's an approximation. It's a creature pretending to be something it isn't, or something that it used to be but has since degraded somewhat. It's quite cool. So here we go, the Grim Imposter. He is from the Bloodless family, and this is another thing I should mention, that even though these elites are all from a particular family, that doesn't mean you can't use them in other families. I mean, if you are doing a mission against Children of Typhoon and you want to introduce a Grim Imposter, go for it, why not? There are no specific rules in these expansion packs telling you how to integrate these creatures. There's nothing that says, to integrate these creatures, do this, 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 and this. There's no instructions at all. You just cards and miniatures. It's up to you. Just swap them in and out as you like. If you like a little bit more structure in your expansions, if you like to be told exactly how to use them, that may take some getting used to. But it really is one of the wonders of Fireteam Zero is that it's very plug and play. You can switch in and out expansions. And the monsters and the ability cards, everything just switches in and out, and it's really opens up a lot of options for you to make the game how you want it, or create your own stories within it. And the Grim Imposter is a great character for kind of having that. There's someone that's on your side, and then suddenly he's not on your side anymore. Again, 7 hit points, defense of 2 across the board, and his cup ability is an attack may not be prevented. So he's quite unpleasant in that regard, and it's an unexpected attack here as this always on ability. If a hero moves into a Grim Imposter's location, it immediately attacks them, so it's interrupting the hero's activations. So again, this is another character that you want to be taking out at range. Going to keep that sniper busy. Next up we have possibly the weakest, not in terms of ability, but in terms of design, I would say, and not even necessarily the design, but in terms of clarity of rules. I've never used this. This is the Daughter of Typhon. It's a great design, and it's a great design for me, not least because I wrote a trilogy of children's books called The Legend Riders, and one of the major villains in that series were spider war soldiers that wore capes, and they had extra limbs under their capes that they could suddenly reach out with and scurry up walls and things. And this model, sorry, that sounds like a shameless plug, and it was a shameless plug. I will get back to the point. Yeah, this reminds me of that, and it's cool. It's a cool design. You can imagine like this woman has suddenly had these horrible appendages burst out of her back, and now she's scuttling along with lots of unpleasant claws and things. It's a great miniature in that regard. It's very similar to a lot of the Children of Typhon characters have that kind of spindly spider-like scurrying nastiness to them. The problem, I think, with her is in terms of her ability mandatory sacrifice. Everything else is fine. She's got this, hit points and resistance, and 3 brawl at 0 range, and she can attack at range 1 if she rolls the cup, so she can suddenly reach out further with her hands. But it says mandatory sacrifice. It says a Daughter of Typhon cannot be killed while there is a minion within range 1 of her. So in theory, if there's a minion on the board, you're supposed to attack that minion before you get a chance to attack her. But I kind of got myself in the weeds a little bit with that, trying to figure out whether if you did splash damage, whether it would still take her out if it killed the minion at the same time. And things like that, and I sort of looked at it the first time I got the card out, and my brain did a little hiccup, and I sort of put this one back in the box and went, I'll figure that out another time. And I've never really sort of tried to use it again since. And it probably is really obvious, and someone's just going to go, you're an idiot. That's fine, I am an idiot. But yeah, it didn't immediately it didn't immediately pause and think, I can figure out that rule out. I know how that rule's going to work in those situations. Things like splash damage. It just didn't. It didn't work for me in that regard. But it's a great concept. Really is a cool concept. Here's an Infesting Queen. Isn't that beautiful? Wants to give you a kiss. Yeah, that's a hook on the end of its tongue. Ugh. A lot of things in Fireteam Zero make me go ugh. The Infesting Queen is from the Infested family, and it's kind of a bit more of the same in terms of its resistances and things. The cup ability is all heroes within range 1 of at least 1 minion take 1 unblockable damage. So the Queen is reaching out through the minions. It's quite a cool little ability that makes that makes all of the minions on the board walking landmines. It's a cool ability, and it really sort of amps the danger. And it has an infest ability. During the threat phase, spawn the first minion in an Infesting Queen's location if possible. So again, it's automatically creating those situations where it's keeping things around it and protecting it, and then using those minions to wreak devastation. It's cool. It's a cool monster. This is the last monster in the pack. It's the Flensing Tree. It's a tree that isn't very nice. I could talk about another one of my books there. I won't. Yeah, it's not the greatest model. There's a bad join line there, but it's a cool concept. It's a cool concept. It looks really unpleasant from the top. It kind of has that sort of spindly spider quality to the branches, and yeah, it has sort of an attack range which turns, if you roll the cup, the attack gets weaker, but it becomes splash damage. But it has this ability called Invasive Branches, and invasive is a nasty word. It's a violent word, and it's quite an unpleasant word, and it does conjure up those sort of things like maggots and parasites and things like that. But in this particular case, in relation to a tree, invasive just brings to mind that scene from the original Evil Dead movie, and so every time I see this tree and I see that invasive branches, that's where my mind goes, and I can't help thinking that maybe that's where the designer's mind was going a little bit as well. So yeah, that makes me feel a little bit icky. But invasive branches basically becomes unblockable damage. So yeah, it's nasty. It's a nasty tree. And that's it. So that's 5 elite monsters in one box, and you know, at least I think they're all great designs, and at least 4 of them I think is all quite clear how they work, and yeah, I kind of like them all. This is probably my favourite monster pack, just because it's one of each family, and they all sort of bring something a little bit interesting, and the designs are cool. So there we go. That's a look at the photo. This has already gone way longer than I was expecting it to, so I'm going to stop talking. If you've stuck with me this long, thank you very much. There's going to be 3 more of these. Bye for now, everybody. Bye bye.